minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I want to thank all colleagues for their contributions today. It's clear that members have put a lot of thought into the points they wanted to make today. And I'll repeat what I said at the beginning, I do take seriously the committee's report. I'm grateful to the committee for its work, and I do understand the time constraints on everyone's work in the Parliament as we find ourselves in February ahead of an election. However, we have to make every minute in the Parliament count. And I want to again reassure Edward Mountain, the convener, and all colleagues that work is well underway to identify the areas for amendment, the areas where we do agree, myself and the Government, and the points that have been made in the committee's recommendations. I am genuinely looking at all of those points to see where amendments are appropriate. I will work at pace, not in a rush, not like a headless chicken, but work in a serious, committed way to get this done. And I give Parliament my word on that, because I agree with Maurice Golden and other colleagues that it is too important to kick down the roads. And the Cabinet Secretary is right. It's not about Scotland trying to show off that we're the front runner, because we're not. We are lagging behind our neighbours in the European Union. The issue was raised in the House of Commons just this week, where ministers are looking at this across portfolios, justice, DEFRA, because as Bill Kidd said, there was a bill in the House of Lords. I can assure him that Baroness Rosie Boycott is a real person, and she spent her, a bit maybe like Russell Findlay, who's not here today, but as a journalist, investigating powerful, wealthy people, holding them to account, and working with colleagues from all benches in the House of Lords and people of no political persuasion. Yes, of course.
Maurice Golden.
I thank the member for giving way. Does the member agree with me that there's precedent set actually in the last session of Parliament with the Tide Pubs Bill, which had, I think from memory, around 247 amendments and was to be taken in stage 2 in March, and the committee worked hard to ensure that all those amendments could be dispensed and it could move to stage 3. So what is the timescale facing the member is something that this Parliament has experienced before and indeed has dealt with before.
Monica Lennon.
Yeah, look, as a socialist, I always have a glass that is half full. I believe we can get this done. I will move mountains to get this done. And I have great faith in Edward Mountain, even though he's maybe talking himself down today. But as a convener, he expertly chairs the committee every Tuesday morning. And I'm looking at the colleagues who are here. We can do this because, as Douglas Lumsden said, and I think he's flirting with the idea of supporting this, it matters to the people of the North East of Scotland. It matters to my constituents. It matters to all of us. So there are technical points that we have to deal with. I do understand the frustration and the curiosity about Section 14. Why have there not been any prosecutions? Colleagues have raised concerns about, do we have the right resources in place for our regulators, including SEPA? So I hope that the bill has allowed that debate to really open up. And I want to thank Bill Kidd for mentioning Polly Higgins, and I want to mention colleagues who brought tears to my eye, including Richard Leonard. I can't take people being nice to me. I'm not used to it. But I want to reassure colleagues that this is not about being sentimental and just, Scotland trying to, get headlines. We are now one of the most nature-depleted countries in the world. We all love Scotland. We all care about Scotland's future, but we cannot be complacent any longer. And I know that some colleagues asked the Cabinet Secretary in committee when she was giving evidence, what if it puts off investment? What if people don't want to come to Scotland because we have an Ecocide law? Well, I want people to know that we will have an Ecocide law. We welcome investment, we want development, we need it to be in the right place and done in the right way, and I have a great trust in our planning authorities to do that. But people need to know, well, Maurice Golden's given me a look, my husband's a planner, so I have to say that. But, planning is where I learned about protecting our environment. And I do believe that we need to recognise that planners already look at environmental impact. But the point I want to make in closing is the amendments that we've already set out in writing that we agree on, we can work at pace. I'm listening to all of the committee members, but it's up to the committee to agree the time to do this. I will be working, with an open door to everybody. And if we kick this down the road, we are doing a great disservice to our constituents today, but to future generations. That's why it's not just environmentalists backing the bill, it's health charities like Asthma and Lung UK, it's the Children and Young People's Commissioner, because they know that our young people need to have a safer, healthier Scotland. So I will end there, Presiding Officer, and I want to thank the Scottish Government, thank all members who are backing the bill, and to those who are not yet convinced because they're worried about the time, then please give the bill a chance, and I assure you I will work night and day to make sure that we have a robust bill at the end of the process. Thank you.